According to PFF, 10 coaches who are on the hot seat going into this season. Now, starting off right away, in order for a coach to be on the hot seat, well, yes, us fans will have our opinions, whether or not a coach should be fired, a coach shouldn't be fired, whatever, right? As fans, we have our opinions. The front office of that respected club has to actually fire the coach. What I mean by that is some front offices we all know and love will not be making changes to their head coaching position, even if they should be. Just kind of a side note. Some front offices don't really listen that much to their fans when it comes to the fans' opinion, and they will just do whatever they want to do. Just keep that in mind. So I got off right away, Mike McDaniels. To be honest, this one doesn't shock me too much. I don't know. I feel like the Dolphins are a weird place. Tua is the reason why the Dolphins have struggled over the last couple of years. And it hasn't been because of the fact he's bad. I think he's actually a pretty good quarterback. It's been injuries. It's been concussions. It's been missing games. So that's really the biggest issue with the Dolphins. They have Jalen Waddle. They have Tyreek Hill. They have, Devon A-Chain in the backfield. And they have a solid defense. It's really been that simple fact. Now, of course, in the NFL, it's all about wins. It's all about what have you done for me lately. It's all about getting results. And you don't hit results, you're going to be in trouble. Shane Steichen for the Colts. Yeah, after the whiff on Anthony Richardson, people are gonna start to talk about your job potentially being taken from you. So it's not surprising. Brian Daboll. I'm still surprised Brian Daboll has a job, to be honest, with New York Giants. I think if he left the Giants, he would get a coordinator job somewhere, because he is a good football mind, but I'm actually surprised with the Giants, but at the same time, this is kind of his last leg, with the whole Jackson Dart situation. If Jackson Dart blows up in their face, it might not work out too well. But the good thing is, for Brian Daboll here, he has Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and then Jackson Dart. So the idea is Jackson Dart's not starting until at least next year. And if that's the case, then you're kind of in a gray area where you're not going to fire the coach because you're going to wait to see how the rookie quarterback turns out. Kevin Stefanski, it's really Andrew Berry is the reason why this is such a clusterfluff. It's not Stefanski's fault. At the end of the day, yes, starting Deshaun Watson and keeping Deshaun Watson in as long as he did is definitely not a good idea, but that was coming from higher up. The Browns are just dysfunctional altogether when it comes to their franchise. So, it's hard to blame one of the best coaches they've had in a very long time. But, yeah. Zach Taylor is what we talked about. Some organizations will simply not fire their coach no matter what. And I still think, and I'll say this again, fire Duke Tobin. Promote Zach Taylor to an advisor role. Get an actual offensive coordinator in here. Get an actual head coach in here. Get an actual GM in here. Get rid of the front office. I mean, I'm talking about, you go in there and you clean sweep that front office. It won't happen. So, it doesn't matter. Zach will not be fired, no matter what. Honestly, I'm going to go as far to say this. If we go 3-14, Zach Taylor would not be fired. 1,000%. If we went 3-14. Because they're not going to. And that's just the fact. It's not about results when it comes to Zach Taylor keeping his job. Zach Taylor would have to do something to royally tick off Katie Blackburn. Royally tick off Mike Brown. Like, you have to really tick off the top of the top to get fired as coach here. I don't think Zach Taylor would get fired. Especially because he did take us to a Super Bowl, which, in my opinion, I feel like because he took us to a Super Bowl, it was Joe Burrow who did it, Zach's like in Mike Brown's head, Zach is like gold. He's like the golden child. So, Brian Callahan, yeah. It's weird with Brian because he inherited such a bad team. And then obviously now Cam Ward will be his, release of that or chance to redeem himself. But if Cam Ward's a bust, Brian's gone. Brian's absolutely gone. Jonathan Gannon, Arizona. Mike Tomlin, he just actually recently signed a contract extension. I don't think he's going to get fired. Now, the opposite of the Browns is the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to their franchise and ownership. They're actually really well ran, and they actually have a good owner. So, it's one of those situations where they don't fire coaches. Like, they don't fire coaches midseason at all. The fact that they fired their offense coordinator a couple years back, Matt Canada, was unprecedented for them. I don't think that they would fire Mike Tomlin. I think what would happen with Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin would never be fired. He might resign or step down. Kind of how the Coughlin situation, if you guys remember Coughlin back in the day, the old Todd Coughlin, the old coach, how he was like, he went up there, they said, hey, you're going to get fired, and then he stepped down. So that's kind of the situation with Mike Tomlin. I don't think he'll ever be fired. I think he'll step down, which is a respectful way of saying you're fired. Todd Bowles, Raheem Mostert. Raheem Morris. Raheem Mostert's a running back for the 49ers and was for the Dolphins. Todd Bowles, yeah, it's an interesting situation with him. Morris, listen, the situation obviously with Kirk Cousins was not great. Okay, the situation with Kirk Cousins was a mess. You get a first-round pick in Penix. Yes, he looked decent last year. But if he's not the guy, and obviously Kirk's not the guy, you're setting your franchise back a good amount of time because you decided to pull the trigger and take Penix. So, yeah. Again, it's one of those situations where I feel like there's going, at least out of these 10 coaches, I feel like at least 4 of them are getting fired. 4 of them are going to get fired. And Zach Taylor's not one of them. I promise you that. He's not. He's not going to get fired. The front office is not going to do that. They're going to do what they did with Frank Bullock, whereas they keep him around longer than they probably should. And then he's eventually just going to get promoted. Peace out, guys.